secret sauce, a secret that the markets know and the rest of us doesn't. So while we hear about economic gloom and doom every odd day, sometimes there's a ratings downgrade, sometimes GDP estimates show that we'll be in negative growth massively, the worst growth in several years. But markets seem to have no such qualms, concerns, or worries. They've simply shrugged off the news. It was another day of highs in the markets today, with the Nifty hitting 10,000 after a long time. In fact, a lot of stocks off their lows of 2020. Indian stocks closed nearly 1% higher for the sixth consecutive session, and the Nifty ending above 10,000 for the first time since March 13th. So pre-lockdown. PSU banks, in fact, gaining the most. But what is bringing all of this cheer and optimism to the markets? We're going to have two heavyweights from the markets to explain this to us. But before we begin the discussion, let me just get a view from Jayesh Khilnani, my colleague. Jayesh, what really is going on? Give us the breakdown of how the markets were today.
So definitely there's one indicator that is suggesting that there could be more room to this rally as well, which is the 50-day moving average indicator that I'm referring to. Now, just to give you a background, this is used as a very effective trend indicator by the traders, and it is among the most popular three moving averages of 50, 100 and 200-day moving averages that people look at. Of course, it is also the leading indicator out of the three, being the lowest number in effect. Now, what the chart essentially is showing you on the screen is that the percentage of Nifty stocks that are above their 50-day moving average stands at about 98%, which is the highest since 2016 we have seen. And the corresponding level in 2016 for the Nifty also shows you that around similar levels, there was a bottom formation in the market, post which we had a stellar rally in the market as well. So it will be interesting to see if actually history repeats itself, because we are very close to those levels. And interestingly, I was just looking at some of the other data as well. SBI and HUL are the only two stocks which are below their 50-day moving average, which is about 3.5% below. So there could be a case for them to climb back to their 50-day moving average and make it 100%.
All right. So an optimistic note there. More room for growth is what the data is telling, Jayesh. But let's get the real story from Nilesh Shah, who's MD, of course, Kotak AMC, and Vikas Khemani, founder of Carnelian Capital Advisors, two market heavyweights. Great to have both of you on the show. Nilesh, why don't you tell us what the secret is? Are markets able to foresee some great news in the future, or are they simply divorced from reality?
In the short term, it's always difficult to predict how markets will behave. It could be driven by flows. It could be driven by optimism about future. It could be driven even by technical factors like short covering. But in my assessment, right now, market is looking forward to rebalancing by two indices. Both MSCI and FTSE is likely to revise India's weightage upwards in their benchmark indices. That's going to bring anywhere between $3 to $7 billion of capital flows in Indian equity market over a period of time. And somewhere in anticipation of those flows, we have seen some amount of buying and some amount of deferred or delayed selling. And that together has resulted into market moving up. The second thing is also that market had corrected sharply with lockdowns, remaining for a longer period of time. The cost of coronavirus hitting our economy far higher. Over last couple of months, we have seen that economic activity have started rebounding. We have seen a company like Britannia talking about 20% and 28% growth in sales in April and May. Now, definitely this is an exception. This is not the rule. But it did show that economic activity, even within constraints, continued. And maybe market is hoping that economic activity will rebound, and which is where probably it is trading at current level.
Vikas, is that your take as well, that markets are assuming economic activity will rebound? I mean, I could understand the kind of optimism on Monday with, the beginning of Unlock 1.0. And is that really the bet? Because how else would you explain aviation stocks buzzing? Some hotel stocks buzzing, items where these will be discretionary spend, auto stocks buzzing, when everything points to the fact that discretionary spends will be cut, people are possibly not going to fly unless they actually have to, absolutely have to. No one knows when they're going to, book a hotel next. Business travel is likely to be very curtailed. So, what is the understanding?
I think, Tamanna, in every crisis or a shock to any system, whether it was a global financial crisis or a demonetization time, anytime there is this kind of sudden sharp shock, you know, uh, markets sell off in a big way. And that time, I think the quality, non-quality, everything kind of goes down and everything gets sold off because market starts hypothesizing the worst. And as that uncertainty starts sort of getting lowered or some sort of clarity starts coming in, and you always will have a combination of sort of short covering, new flash buying coming, new capital coming, and that is what you will always see. Having said that, short term it is always going to be difficult. There will always be some sort of bounce back in the markets. Every big fall after a crisis, there has been a bounce back, and then some sort of convergence to reality happens. So of course, there's markets are sort of liking, cheering that economy is opening up, but things are not going to be as easy as it will take time. Both we have had both supply side and demand side sort of shocks, so it will take 3 to 6 months time to sort of economy to settle back into where we were, and so I would not say that markets are back to great good old days and we should start cheering. Of course, there are trading ideas, trading opportunities. People do short covering. All those things will happen, but there will be some convergence will happen. And after such kind of there is always a bounce back, and then market also gives away. If you look at global financial crisis, market recovered almost 20%, and the Satyam fiasco happened. So after a crisis like this, there are always second order, third order effect happens, and I do believe that nobody can guess second order, third order effect. Like oil prices going negative was a second order effect. Franklin Templeton funds closing down, a second order effect. Can we have some more of them coming down in some time? If that were to happen, you might see markets kind of again giving way. So I think one has to be very careful in terms of looking at these markets, and I don't think things are back to sort of normal. This is just a small sort of, I would say, recovery rally, but one should be very careful.
So if it's a recovery rally, then the logical question is, and I'm taking this to Nilesh Shah first, that how long will it last then? Because you've seen companies and the commentary, Nilesh, during their quarterly numbers, and all indications are that Q1 is going to be tough. So we know that economic growth is going to be in the negative territory in Q1 by a large margin. Most companies are just about beginning to assess how deep the lockdown has hit them, and then what kind of recovery will actually take place. So will the reality then catch up with the markets?
So undoubtedly, market is aware of all the facts and details which we are talking about. It's always the unknown which impacts market rather than known. So post 9/11, when New York Stock Exchange was shut down for a few days, and it opened, aviation sector collapsed because people were afraid that even planes will not fly, or they will fly with soldiers rather than passengers. Over next 1 month, aviation sector became best performing sector because the fears discounted by the markets were not proven right. Planes did started flying. There were marshals on plane, but there were one or two, not per passenger. If the actual economic activity rebound is better than what is discounted by the market at 10,000 Nifty, then certainly markets will continue to rise. But the actual economic activity in terms of rebound is worse than what is priced by the market, then there is no option but for market to fall. So one eye of the market will be on fundamentals in terms of how situation is changing. Now, again, it's not day-to-day situation which matters, but it's the trend which matters. What happens month after month, what happens quarter after quarter. The second thing important for the market will be fund flow. If the world is awash with liquidity and people want to diversify away from China, and we have seen in US government pension fund mandated not to invest in those funds which have exposure to China. If this becomes the trend, then by definition, India becomes a hot market to invest into. It becomes must market to invest into. And we could see flows coming into market from domestic as well as global investors, which again can keep on supporting the prices. The third adjustments which we have to make is that before COVID-19, there was one level of interest rates in India as well as in other parts of the world. Post COVID-19, there is another level of interest rate. So to that extent, when you discount future earnings, you are going to give better value, higher value, because interest rates per se has come down. So a lot will depend upon how things shape up in future. And as Vikas mentioned, that it will be always events and news flows which will continue to impact the market on secondary side as well as tertiary effects.
Absolutely. Same question to you, Vikas, and also with the perspective that over the last few weeks, we've seen FIIs selling and DIIs putting in more money. So the foreigners are exiting in part and the locals are being very vocal to borrow from, the new mantra of being vocal for local. Do you see that trend continuing? And, the larger question, do you think the reality will sort of catch up? You mentioned earlier that you think this is not a return to previous kind of optimism, it's just a small run-up. Do you think that we are going to see a dip then soon?
No, let me correct with you. I think, the FIs have been of late reasonably good buyers. They have not been sellers. They were, of course, big sellers in the month of March. And after that, I think in May, there was a good buying happening. A lot of recent transactions also brought good amount of flow, including, Nilesh Bhai's bank. There's a lot of capital, so a lot of FI money has come into the sort of capital market. So I think, and good part is that DII side, lot of SIP flows with markets were fearing that will slow down. We have not seen that slowing down happening. So I think in some sense, Indian market domestic money has kind of matured a lot. Even in the times of panic, money continues to come in, and which is what I think is the right approach. FI money will come and go depending on the overall outlook or overall money flow situation globally. So in March, we saw risk aversion, so emerging markets funds saw outflow, and so did we. Now again, because of the easy liquidity scenario across the globe, in EMs are seeing bit of the flow, so we are also seeing flow. So I think that will keep changing depending on how sort of global situations pan out. We have a lot of global events still sort of lined up. We have, US elections this year. We are seeing already development of, tensions between US and China. So I think a lot of those things will depend on or will sort of drive the FI flow. It is never only India story, whether India is looking good or India. Unfortunately, very often it is made out that when we get FI flow, India looks good. We don't get FI flow, India does not look good. So it is also a lot of global context by which flow comes in and goes out. But I think domestic money is here to stay. That is here to support, and the alternative returns for alternative asset classes are very low. So I believe that the flows into Indian equities will continue. It's just the short term, we will have to kind of pan it out. Even if the flows are there, we might see next 3 to 6 months bit of volatility given the convergence between the markets and the economic reality. And that we will have to, market consolidates 3 to 6 months after a major crisis and before it resumes its bull market or final journey. So I believe that, one should look for something like a good consolidation phase before we start looking at a new trend.
So what are the kind of spaces that you would bet on at this point, Vikas? As you trade carefully, and all of the advice from all of the experts always is pick very carefully at a point like this when there's so much uncertainty. But what are the kind of spaces that look good? Are they the kind of spaces which will respond to, say, pent-up demand? Are there some sectors that look completely uncertain for some time now and you would avoid?
So more than sector, I would say, first of all, given in times like this, you have to stay invested into good companies with good balance sheets, and typically with sort of market leader, market number 1, number 2 players, because those are the ones which will survive this uncertain period. The big will become bigger. So I think this is the very, very clear sort of trend. One should look at that. Secondly, I think India's story per se does not change. I mean, we are a fairly large consumption story. We are a fairly large investment story. So I think, same, banking, financial services will do very well. Once I think the crisis or the worries start receding, you will start seeing, the sector will come back. So there's no economy which can come back without banking getting fixed or banking doing well. Consumption, especially discretionary consumption, I think, we have seen huge amount of correction that will come back. We will even see automobiles sort of coming back very, very well. There could be very good chance of some of the metals player doing very well once sort of economic recovery starts happening. But in all these things, there are lots of sectors which will do well. Pharmaceutical looking very, very interesting. But in all those things, according to me, overriding theme is stay invested only in a good quality management and good quality balance sheet. That is the one which will come out winner very well.
Mr. Shah, same question to you. What are the spaces that look promising right now, especially from a medium to long-term view?
So apart from what Vikas mentioned, one thing very clear is that leverage will become lethal in the days to come. If you're a leveraged player, your equity value can be written off quickly, and the asset value will be left only for the lenders. So try to stay away from leverage company across all sectors. Apart from this, there are a couple of niche sectors which we think will do well. One is chemical and specialty chemicals. This is one sector where India is almost at similar stage as IT industry was in Y2K phase. China is letting go certain chemical compounds because of various issues. India is getting into that phase. Existing players are expanding capacity. They are getting global orders. And from multi-million-dollar orders, we believe in chemical space, there will be journey towards multi-billion orders over a long period of time. It's not going to happen in a 1 year, 2 year, but it will happen over a decade or so. The second opportunity could be contract manufacturing firm. Again, using the same cliche, this is like Y2K movement for IT industry. Most of the big brands on consumer durable side, which we are seeing, are investing in technology and design and outsourcing the manufacturing part with contract manufacturing firms. We have seen giants of contract manufacturing firms like Foxconn in the world. Many Indian companies are now getting into that space where they were manufacturing consumer durables for global brands and they were distributing in India. Now they have a chance to become part of global supply chain management. Their markets will expand 5 times, 10 times, 50 times over a period of time. These are two unique opportunities where we believe Indian companies are at the same stage as IT companies were there in 2000. Multi-decade growth is available, provided they capture it well. So apart from other sectors, I think these are two niche, unique sectors where there will be long-term compounding.
Absolutely. Some great advice there from two top names in the markets. Well, we won't grudge anyone any optimism. If the markets are cheering, so be it. I think it's good to see a little cheer somewhere where most of the news is so much gloom and doom in it. So thank you so much, Nilesh Shah and Vikas Khemani, for joining us on that chat today. We'll take a very short break on the India development debate. But when we come back, well, if you've been sitting in lockdown, working from home and consuming a lot of packaged goods, including biscuits, you will know why Britannia is shining right now. And the man of the moment, Britannia boss Varun Berry, spoke with ET Now today. We'll get you an exclusive excerpt of that interview after this break.